I need space. 3 gut-wrenching words that can strike fear into the heart of any relationship. When your partner drops this bombshell, it's really tempting to do everything in your power to reel them back in. But did you know that most people get it completely wrong when it comes to dealing with a partner who needs space? In this video, we're going to dive into the common mistakes that could push your partner further away. When your partner says they need space, it's really natural to feel a surge of panic. Your first instinct might be to try to win them back as quickly as possible. But the thing is, this approach often backfires really spectacularly. When our partner says, I need space, I need a break, I need some time apart, our brains can go into panic mode. Because there's no real plan, there's just the worry about this outcome of, I need to pull them back in, I need to get this relationship back to where it was. But there's no plan. So your brain's in panic mode. And then that leads into one of 2 main directions. The first is impatience. Your brain goes into impatient mode because you want an outcome right now. You want to repair the relationship or move on. When your brain is in this type of panic mode, you often end up rushing. You end up making big mistakes because you're looking for some quick fix to the relationship. But the truth is that any problems within the relationship, any discords that have built up, will have been coming for a long time. So rushing through them is going to cause way more problems in the long term. So you end up rushing, you end up trying all of these X-back programs and tactics, bombarding your partner with text messages, all these pre-made scripts that you found on the internet, and ultimately your partner ends up needing more space because they can see through these shallow gestures. They can see that you're in panic mode and you're trying just anything to try to get them to come back. But then there's the second panic mode, which is anxiety, where you go into this anxious mode and suddenly you become very, very needy. You start to worry, what is my life going to be without my partner? What am I going to do? Where are we going to go? I don't know what to do. And you start to go into begging mode. You're so petrified of losing them that you start to bombard them with flowers. You start to guilt trip them and say, I can't live without you. I need you in my life. Don't leave me. And this can lead to a lot of controlling behaviors, trying to control your partner and what they do. These feelings have a seeping into the tone of your voice, your body language, and your actions. And guess what? Your partner can sense that desperation, that neediness. It's like a subtle pressure that pushes them further and further away. And this confirms their need for space. So as a result of both of these modes, ironically, in trying to rush or guilt your partner back, it ends up reaffirming in their mind that they need more space away from you. Because ultimately, if they're trying to figure out their thoughts, they're trying to get a bit of a breather, and they can't do it, then it's likely to push them further away. They're actually going to think to themselves, wow, even when I ask for space, they can't even give me that. They can't even give me a moment to breathe. So all this does is reaffirm their need for space. Think about it. Your partner has just expressed a need for distance, and your immediate response is to crowd them even more. It's a little like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. You might think that you're showing how much you care, but in reality, you're just reinforcing the very reasons why they needed space in the first place. But wait, you might be thinking, what if I just show them how much I've changed? What if I use some clever tactics to win them back? Well, the brutal truth is manipulative tactics or quick fixes may seem to work in the short term, but they don't address the underlying issues of the relationship. Plus, most people can spot these tactics from a mile away. And if your partner senses that you're only making changes to win them back rather than for genuine self-improvement, then this is going to lead to distrust and push them even further away. So, what's the alternative? How can you respond to your partner's need for space in a way that doesn't make things worse, but still shows them that you want to reconcile? There's an approach that is far more effective, but it might surprise you. It's not about big grand gestures or clever manipulation. It's about something a little bit more fundamental. So now that we've covered the pitfalls of panic, let's explore a much more effective approach to handling your partner's request for space. It's called the slow burn strategy. And this approach involves a concept that psychologists call emotional safety. This is about creating an environment where your partner feels comfortable expressing their feelings without fear of judgment or conflict. But here's the kicker. Building emotional safety isn't something that you can fake, and it requires genuine change and growth on your part. If you think about it this way, when your partner says they need space, they're essentially saying that the current dynamic doesn't feel emotionally safe for them. So like we said, emotional safety is the space to be able to express your feelings without any negative consequence. And emotional safety is damaged over time in many small and subtle ways. So for example, if you're invalidating your partner, if you make a sarcastic remark, if you sulk, if you storm out of a room. So emotional safety is damaged in many subtle ways over time, many small interactions over and over and over again. Emotional safety becomes damaged as arguments and conflicts happen and they're not resolved. So when your partner says that they need space right now, it's because over time they've learned that when they speak up, when they try to overcome these emotional discords in the relationship, something negative happens. So over time they've learned that speaking up isn't the right thing to do. And that's why they pull away and they need space. So how do you rebuild emotional safety? Well, emotional safety is rebuilt in the inverse way to how it was destroyed. So it's actually rebuilt through many, many small interactions, but positive ones. So not with big gestures, but many, many small interactions. But these interactions need to be positive. But when I say positive, I don't mean that they shouldn't be arguments. That should be a bare minimum. It's about providing a very, very high value conversation that is able to move the relationship forward. And this needs to be done in many, many interactions over a long period of time. This is the slow burn approach. So if you think back to when your partner says that they need space, going into panic mode isn't an option. If you think about it again, if you turn impatient and you rush, you're damaging emotional safety. You're actually giving your partner more negative interactions. And if you think about falling for anxiety, you get needy and you're giving your partner more negative interactions, which is why they need more space, which is why emotional safety gets more damaged. So what is the slow burn approach? Well, like we said, slow burn approach is one positive interaction after another, after another, after another, over a long period of time. It's only in this way that we're able to build emotional safety to a very, very high level. So if your partner is saying that they need space right now, how do you communicate with them? How do you give them a positive interaction when they're not wanting any sort of interaction? So if they do want space, then the first step is to always understand the desire for space. You know, if you think back to all of the discords that have happened within the relationship and the reason why they would need this space right now, this is the perfect opportunity to be able to say to them, hey, you know, looking back, I can understand why you would need space right now. I don't think that I've interacted very well in the past. I don't think that I've communicated very well with you. I think that whether it's shouted, I've raised my voice, I've invalidated you. So I can understand why you would want to have space away from me right now. And then you want to set your intention. So this is where you say to your partner, hey, whilst you're having space, my intent is to learn more about what I've done in the past to interact so badly with you. So my intention right now is to focus on my self-growth, to be able to make sure that I am learning and growing. And that's what I'm going to do in the meantime, whilst you're taking your space. And I understand that you may not be interested in this right now, but that's what I would like to do in the meantime so that I don't do this again. And that's where your focus needs to be. After that, give your partner all the space they need. Because when you focus on true self-growth, that will start to trickle out into every single interaction that you have. Not only with your partner, but with other people as well. So even when your partner does reach out after having their space, then you'll be ready for the next interaction. Your self-growth should really start to be showing. And then if the next interaction goes well, then the interaction after that should be better because you should have grown even more. And then the interaction after that, and so on and so forth. If you're focused on true self-growth, it will start to filter out in every single interaction with your partner, and they will see the true colors that are now coming out in the new you. So this is the slow burn approach. If you think about it this way, if you're only changing to get your partner back, what happens once they return? Those changes are likely to fade away, leaving you right back where you started. But when you focus on improving yourself for your own sake, the positive effects ripple out into all areas of your life, including your relationship. So how do we go about this self-improvement journey? It sounds a bit vague, right? Let's break it down into some practical steps. And just before I move forward, if you do want more videos like this, then feel free to subscribe to my channel for new videos on communication, relationships, and even ADHD every single week. First, maintain a positive mindset. So this doesn't mean ignoring your feelings or pretending that everything is fine. It's about acknowledging your emotions while staying hopeful and focused on your action on how you grow. When you catch yourself spiraling into negative thoughts, try to reframe them. So instead of thinking, my partner wants space, our relationship is doomed, try, this is an opportunity for both of us to grow and potentially strengthen our relationship. Next, it's important to work on developing emotional control. So this is a really key skill in creating emotional safety. It's about being able to manage your reactions, especially in high stress situations. So when you feel overwhelmed, try using techniques like deep breathing or mindfulness to calm yourself down. This allows you to respond in situations thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively. Another really important aspect of self-growth is building a fulfilling life outside of your relationship. So this is ultimately down to you. This might involve rekindling old hobbies, strengthening friendships, or pursuing your personal goals. Not only does this make you a more well-rounded person, but it also reduces your dependency on your partner for happiness. And believe it or not, this independence can actually make you much more attractive to your partner in the long run. Remember that the goal here isn't to become a completely different person. It's about becoming the best version of yourself. And the most crucial aspect of this is involving working on issues that have been affecting your relationship, like improving your communication skills, understanding the root causes of how relationships work and where the discords in your relationship have appeared. A lot of people go through therapy or coaching. And as you focus on the self-improvement, you might notice changes in how you interact with others, not just with your partner. You might find yourself handling conflicts more calmly, listening more attentively, expressing your needs more clearly. These are all signs that you're creating a foundation for healthier relationships in all areas of your life. Now, one of the biggest questions is, how long is this going to take? How long do I wait for my partner to have their space? The truth is, there's no set timeline for personal growth. It's a continuous process, and that's actually a good thing. It means that you're constantly evolving and improving, which leads to a much more fulfilling life overall. There is no magic timeline for when your partner will be ready to reconnect. Every relationship is unique. Trying to force a reunion before both people are ready can undo all of the progress that you've made. So this is why it's crucial to focus your attention on self-growth. And when your partner is ready to reconnect, then approach the situation as it comes. Instead, start to think of this as a slow, steady journey back to each other. When you feel you've made significant personal progress, you might start to wonder how to invite your partner back into a conversation. The key here is to do it without pressure. So you could say something like, hey, I've been working on myself a little bit, and I've had some realizations on where I've gone wrong in the relationship, and I'd really love to chat about it if you're open to it. No pressure if you're not ready. This approach shows respect for their boundaries while still opening the door for communication. Each positive encounter is a step towards healing, gradually increasing the time that you spend together. Remember, this is not linear. Emotional safety is being built over time, and there's going to be ups and downs. But it's all about doing things the right way, the effective way, and creating an environment where both you and your partner feel comfortable expressing your true feelings without fear of judgment or conflict. And this doesn't happen overnight. It's built through consistent, respectful communication and actions that align with your words. And as you navigate this process, it's important to keep developing your emotional intelligence and communication skills. There are a lot of resources on emotional communication that can be incredibly helpful. This is actually what I work on with my ultra-normal members. These skills aren't just about improving your relationship. These are valuable tools that you can use to enhance all of your future relationships. And this is why it's so crucial to learn these skills, because the next time your partner reaches out, you will have built these skills and you'll be able to navigate conversations in a much more effective way, and it will show how much you've changed. And if you do want to join us and work with me, then join me on my free relationship bootcamp, where you'll learn the same tools and steps that all of my successful members have used to start turning their relationship around in a genuine way, in a true way, without BS scripts or tactics. Just click on the link in the description to grab your spot. When it comes to relationships, there are some fundamentals to know. So yes, it is possible to attract your partner back, to reconcile, and yes, it is possible to turn your relationship around by yourself, despite it feeling like a solo project. So technically, no, it doesn't take two to tango. You can turn your relationship around by yourself. And I've actually done a deep dive video on this, which I'll link to on the screen here. But ultimately, it feels like you shouldn't be trying because you're doing this by yourself. You're focusing on your self-growth, right? So why should I focus on myself when my partner isn't focusing on themselves? But the truth is that focusing on your 50% of the relationship gives it the biggest chance of reconciliation. So if you do want a deeper dive into how to turn your relationship around by yourself, then I'll leave you with this video here, and I'll see you over there.